Hey, good morning. How y'all doing? It is Well Red Beard, and it's a damn fine day to talk about some books. We are here for Beard Book Talk. Beard Book Talk. Yeah, that's what we call it. Beard Book Talk, and this is number 20, episode 20. Basically, this is where I show you what I read, what I got, what I'm going to read. Last week I finished a couple books. I finished Gwendy's Final Task in audio. I gave it 3 stars. I liked it more than Wendy's Magic Feather, but a lot less than Wendy's Button Box. So overall, I just didn't really like where this story was taken. I mean, I didn't hate it. It was okay. In this one, Wendy goes to space to get rid of the button box. If you're interested in more, I have a review for this up. Yeah, I mean, I remember loving young Wendy and the whole idea of Wendy's button box and what we had there. And then the sequels, both of them really just kind of fell a little bit flat for me, to be honest. But this is Gwendy's Final Task. I finished that. This was in audio. In my physical read, always have audio and physical going at the same time. I finished Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver, and this was awesome. Um, when I finished it, I gave it 5 stars. The first 300 pages, I was solidly at 5 stars. A couple things later in the book, I thought about maybe going a little bit lower. Right now, I'm leaving it at 5 stars. To be honest with you, reading the first 300 pages, I was like, this is going to be in my top five, top 10 of all time. I don't know if it wound up there. I don't know. I just finished it last night. I've still got to digest a little bit and review it, but it is an excellent book, and I really really like this. And again, this was for my Pulitzer Project, book two. This one in 2023, along with another book. There were two books that won in 2023, so I read the 2024 winner, which was The Night Watch by Jane Ann Phillips. That one was 3-ish stars, probably a little bit higher than 3. But this one is so far definitely my favorite. Of course, I'm only 2 books in, but really really love Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver, and I believe that's all that I finished. I am very very close, probably today, to finishing my next audio after Wendy, and this is the picture of Dorian Gray. This is a reread for me. I read this way back in the day when I was trying to do, and this is, when I say way back in the day, we're talking probably 16, 17, 18 years ago. I was trying to do the BBC's Top 100. I got through 40-ish of those books, and this was one from those 40 that I remembered really liking, and so I had this cool Barnes and Noble $15 soft leather-ish. I don't know if it's real leather bound copy. Same that I've got Frankenstein and Dracula in the same type edition. I love these editions, so I had it. I've of course never reviewed it, never talked about it. So I wanted to do a reread. So I'm doing this one in audio. I should wrap it up today. My wife bought this book when we went to a Half Price Books over the past week. Wade in the Water by Tracy K. Smith. It is poetry, and this is by the Poet Laureate of the United States. So this was a poet laureate at one time. I'm not exactly sure how that works or what years she was the poet laureate. But anyway, my wife picked it up and read it, and I kind of picked it up and got right into it, and I've read like 20 pages in it. But I do want to get back into poetry. That's the one thing that's kind of been lacking through this 4 or 5 months that I've been back, reading really hard. I used to always have a poetry read going, that I would, if I knew I had 5 minutes, I would not try to pick up my prose read. I would try to pick up, my poetry book and read a few poems rather than, try to dig into something, but whatever. So I'm trying to get back into poetry, but it's different, right? Like, you read poetry different. I'm not sure that, I read like the first probably 15 poems in this one, and I'm not sure that I'm giving it the attention or focus that it deserves or whatever, but, it's Anyway, yeah, like I said, I just read it different, and I'm not sure I'm there yet, but I want to be. I want to get back into reading poetry, you know, on the daily. So, yeah, Wade in the Water by Tracy K. Smith. I have not touched this book in a couple weeks, but I was reading Happy Bunny and Other Mischiefs. This is short stories. This was for my Shorts on Shorts. I finished the Keith Rawson Folk Songs for Trauma Surgeons book last week, so I just haven't gotten back into it, but I will be picking this up and finishing it before I pick up any other short story, book. And I mean, I can't really tell you the way that works, like when I pick this up over like my current novel that I'm reading. Normally it's when I need a couple short videos. I'll go knock out a couple stories and do my Shorts on Shorts, but I should be reading more from this week. And then I didn't touch this week either, and really is because I didn't want to finish it yet. I mean, I definitely want to finish it before the end of January. So this is Fantastic Orgy by Carlton Mellick the third. It's 5 stories. I've read the first 4. I've shot Shorts on Shorts for the first 2. So I need to put a video together for story 3, story 4, and then read story 5. So I think I got like, I don't know, 20 or so, 25 pages left in the book. I'll definitely be finishing this week. My next novel, I think, and the reason I say I think is because I picked it up last night and I really only read the introduction after finishing King Solver. It's going to be on, and the way I've been kind of going is you know, a novel of my choosing, a Pulitzer novel, a novel of my choosing, a Pulitzer novel. Mixed in, of course, with all the audio and short stories and everything else. But so I think I'm reading Little Eve by Catriona Ward. I believe this is my well. I would have told you this is my last remaining Catriona Ward book, having done all 3 of those on the back of this one. I really, really like Sundial. I liked all 3 of these books, but I really like Sundial and I really like Looking Glass Sound. But in the introduction of this book, now this is her first novel, but this is like the first U.S. public. I think that this novel came out in the UK, didn't get a stellar, I guess, it didn't sell a lot, but then it won like the Bram Stoker and some other award for the best novel. And then so it was kind of brought back to life. And I think, then it was published in the US and so on and so forth. But this is her, I want to say, first widely published novel, because these other 3 came after it. And they're, of course, on the cover. So this is like a late publication, right? Um, but then reading the introduction, she had a book before this, and I don't know if that's like easily available. I don't think it is, because most of the times you look up. I mean, I was convinced that there were 4 books, and this is the last one I needed to read to complete Catriona Ward. But anyway, this is Little Eve by Catriona Ward. I'm gonna probably be reading this now. And then after that, my next book from my Pulitzer Prize, again, Pulitzer Project, I really just wanted to do like one a month. This, January I did 2. And so I don't know if that's the pace I'm on. But the next one that I'll be doing is Trust by Hernan Diaz. Again, this also won a Pulitzer for fiction in 2023. And I don't know why, because I don't think there's any other year. I mean, going all the way back to the inception, like in the 40s, I don't think there's any other year where they gave the award to 2 books. But anyway, so this will be the next book that I read for my Pulitzer Project. So I didn't get a lot. I mean, I've got some stuff coming in the mail, but they are not here yet. We went to a Half Price Books in Florence, Kentucky, on Thursday, I believe, and that was my son does some training, like some football, athletic training type stuff up in northern Kentucky, and we kind of drop him off, and because it's like an hour from our house, so we're not really there yet with letting him drive himself. So we drop him off and then go hit restaurant or this or that or a bookstore, and there's a half price books. It's like 15 minutes away, so we went and hit that, but we ate first, and by the time we walked in there, like we legit had like 15 minutes to look, and so I only grabbed one book. This is The Ancestor by Daniel Trussoni. Trussoni. I have read this, but I did not own a hardcover copy of it. This was $3 back on the markdown shelf, and so I grabbed it for my shelf. I still have an arc of this. Matter of fact, it might be right here behind me. No, it's up there. It's up there. But I have an arc of this, but it was a hardcover copy of a book I'd read. I didn't love this book. I think I gave this book 3 stars. I could be wrong about that, 3 or 4, but I think I gave this book 3 stars when I read it. It's very gothic and castle-y, and there's, if I remember correctly, it's got like Sasquatch or abominable snowman or whatever stuff in here, which is cool. But anyway, this is The Ancestor by Danielle Trussoni. So, and then I went to another half price books. Shit, the books are grabbing my cord. But let me fix that. Try to anyway. All right, we're good. I went to another half price books in Lexington. I guess my normal one this weekend, and I picked up a few books. So I walked in, and look, I've owned multiple hardcover copies of this, and like I said, I will kind of build my collection. I'll dump. I'll build. I'll dump some, and every time I get back into where I'm building, I'm like, I'm never going to go through and dump those books again. But I don't know why I would think this time would be any different, but hopefully it is, because generally that means I've kind of stopped reading and I've kind of stopped caring so much about books, and I've dumped, but whatever. So I walked in and this was sitting there, The Exorcist. It's a book club edition, yes I know. And it was $25, which is not a horrible price. It's not a great price, but this one was in pretty nice shape. Already wrapped in the nice plastic whatever dust jacket cover. So I looked at it. I left it there. I went back to the discount section and got a couple books there. I got a copy of My Dark Vanessa for $3. I don't know much about this. I know it was fairly popular or buzzy a few years ago when it came out. I think it's like a dark, like female-led thriller. I could be totally wrong on that. But I mean, along the lines of like a Bunny by Mona Awad, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, so I knew this was somewhere near my wheelhouse, so it was $3 in the back, hardcover. Picked it up. I picked up Columbine. I have read this. It's by Dave Cullen. I did this book in audio, and back in the day, and I saw it there for $3, a hardcover that I have read, and so I picked that up, and then I went to the horror hardcover section, and they had a book club edition of Legion by William Peter Blatty, which is the sequel to The Exorcist, and I have not read this book. I've always wanted to read this book. I've kind of put it off because these sequels tend to, like, sequels of really, really great books tend to fall flat. I mean, I just don't think there's any other way. Is there any way that, name a sequel that's better than the first? I mean, most people will go to, like, I don't know. Don't people think Empire Strikes Back is, I think I do. But anyway, but sequels of really, really, sequels of average books may, but sequels of really great books or super, I guess, influential books, like something like The Exorcist, they tend to fall flat. My example is the sequel to Rosemary's Baby. It fell super flat for me, while I love Rosemary's Baby. So anyway, but I got Legion by William Peter Blatty. I gave $7.99 for a nice book club edition, of a book that came out in 1983. I mean, shit, that is what is that, 40 years old? I'm showing my lack of math skills, but anyway, and so because of that, and because I'd only spent $12, I was redirected back up front to just go ahead and grab this and add it back into my collection. So, and because of that, I am thinking about doing this in audio. Again, I've read this, but I've never talked about it, never reviewed it. So, and if I was to tell you right, so I'm kind of at this place where like I'm really, really close to saying these are my top five horror books of all time. And like I don't want to reread all those books, but I hesitate to put that out without anyway. So like, because Rosemary's Baby, I've done that a second time in the last 2 or 3 years. The Haunting of Hill House. These are books I think might be in there. I've done that a second time in the last 3 4 years. Swan Song by Robert McCammon. I've read that in the last 5 years. But this one I read a long, long time ago. And so whatever. I may be doing this one in audio, I guess is what I'm saying. And usually I try to direct you on the path that I'm going next. What am I going to read, right? And so when I finish, um, they kind of screwed me there, man. They had the price tag. Look at that. The price tag was covering a nice little mess up in the cover. Anyway, um, when I finish the picture of Dorian Gray, I might do The Exorcist. Other things that I'm thinking in audio. Uh, I'm getting ready to start the Game of Thrones series in audio, and I don't know. I mean, maybe The Exorcist. Like I said, I did. I did some. I've been doing some Stephen King, but I'm kind of feeling like taking a little break from that. If I do a Stephen King book that I'm going to be redoing soon in audio is The Dead Zone. But yeah, I'm not sure. I just, I'm this weird, like when I finish a book, I immediately take the time to pick what's next, and so I'm not sure. But when I finish Dorian Gray, it might be The Exorcist. It might be the first Game of Thrones book. I don't know. So yeah, that's it. That's everything I read, everything I got, everything I'm going to read. It's been a good month. I can say that. I mean, I think I'm on pace to finish 12, 13 books in the month of January. Right now, I've got like nine, but that's not counting the one I finished last night, and the fact that I'm probably going to finish this book of poetry, and the fact that I'm going to finish Oscar Wilde, and the Carlton Melick. So anyway, but yeah, that's where I'm at. Just enjoying my books. I hope you're enjoying all your books as much as I am. If not, you're reading the wrong damn books.